skills and make gorgeous YouTube videos like Zoella, PewDiePie, or other super
mic on the whole time? Wait, have I not had the mic on the whole time? Oh my god. No. Why? 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 I forgot to turn it on. I hate this game. I hate it sometimes. Rock that music. No, that's not what you say. Oh, I hate why. Did he use in the ball? I feel like he did. You don't use in the ball. Oh, rock that. No! Why do you keep saying that? Oh, rock that music. Oh, rock that music. Did 212 million views? Rock that music. No! Don't rock that music. Oh my god, EH. Oh my god. Oh my god, that music. I'm weird. It is Fate by Alan Wall. You dumb. I'm sorry. Sorry I called you dumb. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Wait, what? I mean, sorry. I love that music. Dude. It is right. It is on oh crap, I feel my no, they're on a channel. Alright, I'll throw them all my diamonds. Diamonds! OMG. Why did you say OMG? Like, why do we do any more like missions to go get more diamonds or something? Then I remembered we don't have a bridge there after that. We don't have a bridge there anymore. What are you doing? I can still get here, you know. You can't block it. You can't block me out. Dude, I will find you. No, we're all in here. Right. Stop jumping. No. I don't care. I'm just joking. Yeah, Lol. Alright, he's mad. He's mad. Alright. What? Making money. What? What are you talking about making money? Ooh, medallion. Half the people are like, what is he saying? I thought it was that he asked you. Oh, no. Just report. Yay. Just sitting here looking at my phone. Just chilling, getting diamonds. We need to get Blue's Tower Defense Battle. Play it on a stream. No, play it on a video. Honestly, I'm done with streaming after this. Oh my god, I saw that. I saw it. No, chilling diamonds. Alright. Lol, chilling diamonds. Dude, no, you don't say lol chilling diamonds after our egg just gets destroyed. Crap, I ran out of food. I'm going to die. They make it. No, we aren't. No. I saw the E-Pearl though. Dude, it was an E-Pearl. Actually, I don't know. I think E-Pearl. Alright. I don't know, dude. Look on the stream. Go back. Look on the stream. Alright. I need a sword. Alright, sword. Grab the sword right here. Alright. We're not gonna be as geared as them. But man, we've got the right stuff. What if he was hacking or not? Alright. Yes. He was hacking. Alright. Get bow. Alright, we need to buy a bow and get some arrows. We'll buy some gapples right now. You don't know what gapples are? Golden apple. There you go. That's what gapples are. Just like a word PvP is made up for Minecraft. Golden apples. Alright, we've got 10, we need 15. Alright, we gotta go right now. We gotta beat this game right now. We're probably going to lose, but we don't care. Alright, let's go. Dude, we will win. We will win. Probably not, but we will win. Alright, we're good. We need to buy some arrows right now. Arrows, 40. Alright. Yes, we are winning. No. pickaxes. They aren't. He's the one that took it out our egg and killed Dangerous. Okay. Oh, alright. Good bow and alrighty. Oh! Alright. Combat. Oh, he's got reach. Dude, I'm going to die. He just hit me off. Dude, he's got reach. Alright. I hope you guys have liked this stream, and yeah, we're gonna end it off right here. Played a few good games. This one really long. TD, only impossible. Yeah, I just saw him. Alright, so we're gonna end off this stream right here. I hope you guys liked it. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna end it off right here. I don't know why I did the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.